All right, they say the two inevitable things that take place in life are death and taxes. So, tax season is upon us. It's coming. So I'm going to go to file, colon, 1, 2, 3, users. No, that's not it. All right. So, my friends, up on the board is basically that something that many people throughout the United States, including most of us, all of us, unless you're trying to evade it, have to fill out something that looks like this each and every year. Okay? Now, it's not a difficult form, but it could be a frustrating form because it came from the federal government, the IRS. They try and make it simple, and unfortunately, it doesn't always come out as nice as it should be. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's look at the 2022 tax brackets. I'm going to pull this one up. Pull this one up. Visit this page. And I know we talked about this back a while back, but I just wanted to revisit it, make sure we feel comfortable about it. Did you get it? All right. So this is basically the taxes that are owed. It's a gradual tax credit or tax form. It's quite simple. A lot of times people say that, so you all know that a lot of times the news or publications, they're based on fear and they're based on anxiety because that sells ads. Okay, that gets people to look at stuff. So, I'm just going to tell you, kind of go through the Stirrup household. Okay, so I am married. I'm filing jointly, and my wife and I made somewhere between $190,751 and $364,200 this year between the two of us. Okay, not too bad for a couple of teachers, in my opinion. But the hard thing is, so let's just take a fictitious route. Let's say my wife and I made $208,000 for the year. Okay. I will tell you that if I got lucky guessing that exact value, it's purely coincidental. It has nothing to do with if it's truth or not. Thank you. Okay. So, and thank you. All right. So here's the thing. A lot of people will say, oh, you made $208,000. So that means that you should have fallen into the 24% category. Which means I should have paid $49,920 in taxes. That is what the media wants you to believe, because I fell into the tax bracket, which was the 24% tax category. Go back there. So this is in the 24,000 or 24% category. Okay. Now, The reason I did not pay that in taxes isn't because I cheated the government. It's because I went through the exact tax code and I went through the very middle column. So from, oops, I can just do it here. No, go back here. Go, stay there, stay there. All right. So what this basically means is 10%. Once I made up to, on the first $22,000 is what I paid tax on. So I paid $2,200 in taxes on the first $22,000 I made. The next taxable part is at 12%. And so that goes up to $89,450. So I go $89,450 minus the $22,000. So on the next $67,450, I paid 12% in tax on that. Oops. 67,450 times 0.12. So then I paid $8,094 on that next amount of money. And then if I go to the next tax bracket at 22%, I need to lay this flat because it's not going to work for me the other way. That means that up to the next $190,750 minus the $89,450 minus the $22,000 means on the next $79,300, I pay 22% in taxes on that. So times 0.22, which means 17,446. And then on the remainder amount of my money, which was $208,000, the next portion of the money will be paid at 24%. So I'm going to take the 208,000 minus the 197.50 minus 89,450 minus 22,000. Oops, I did something wrong. 208,000. Guys, go handle that for me.
Remember that when we were having the call, this is when I tried to do it.
Why am I off there? 208,000 minus
They're so dumb.
minus 197.51. And then on my last bit of money, I paid 24% on, which comes out to, rounded to the nearest dollar, 41.39, which means the Stirrup household should have paid plus 41.39. Should have paid $31,879 in taxes. Now, unfortunately, if I was in the spotlight and someone didn't like me, they're going to pull my tax code and say, hey, this is how much Stirrup should have paid, and this is actually how much he only paid. He shorted the federal government roughly $18,000. Okay? But I didn't. I didn't do it. I didn't short it. I used the rules that they have in place. So basically, I'm going to go on to the married filing jointly. And I'm just looking at those characteristics right there. I'm not worried about the single. And those are the percents I pay on the first amount of money. It's a gradual tax system. They don't tell you that in the beginning. And if you look at it, people are making more than $578,000 a year. Anything over $578,126, or if filing jointly $693,751, whatever they pay over that, they pay 37% tax on that money. So when people say the rich aren't paying their fair share, take a look at the percentages as you go. In the very beginning, if you're only making $22,000 as a family, you are way under the poverty level. You're only paying 10% on your taxes. If you are up to the 89,450, congratulations, you're out of poverty. But that next amount of money you're going to pay 12% on. If you're in the 89 to 190,000, you're way above the poverty level according to the United States. And you're paying $22,000 or 22% on that money. And then as it keeps going and going. So if you look at where the rich tax bracket is, and I want you to realize that, yes, there are dishonest people in the world. I'm not trying to take that in it. I'm not trying to defend the people who are being the guilty. But if you are an honest, legitimate, and I know some of you come from very affluent families, I am sure that your families probably say, I can't believe how much I'm paying in taxes. I mean, think about it. If you made $2 million a year, you're paying 37% on $1.3 million that you're paying in taxes on that money. Okay? It's an awful lot of money. But unfortunately, the media would exploit somebody who's in the spotlight if they didn't like them, and that person became a target because they're a vocal person. They've done things that people don't like. They're in the news for whatever reason. That's what they're going to exploit. Say, this person, look at this. This person only paid, like let's say they're supposed at the 37th or 37 percentile, and they say they didn't even pay their 37% in taxes. They paid less than that. Of course, everybody pays less than the actual tax bracket you fall in. Okay, so I fell into 31,879 divided by 49,920. Oops. I fell into, oops, I did that wrong. 31,879 divided by 208. Basically, because of this, I wound up paying 15.3% in taxes. Okay? Some people would think I should be paying 24% in taxes, but I only paid, and this is without having any type of deductions, nothing in place. This is straightforward, no child credits, no college credits, no write-offs for whatever that you might have as a write-off. But did I cheat the system only paying 15.3% in my taxes? And the answer is no, because at 10% of my taxes were at the first $22,000. After that, the next $67,450, I paid 12% in taxes. Those are both lower. Those are both lower than this. Even at the 22%, it's lower than this. It wasn't until I got to the end, the last $17,249 that I made is the only time I paid that portion at 24%. But it's exploited over and over and over again. And the unfortunate thing is the media won't retract. If someone tried to defend themselves against the major media networks, unless they have millions upon millions of dollars to spend on attorneys, they can't ever recover their thing. So people would say, oh, this person is a tax cheat. They only paid 15.3% in their taxes. Okay. Now, so let's say this is truly what I should have paid in taxes. I can lower this a number of different ways. Okay. If I added solar to my house, and let's say I spent $13,000 adding solar on my house, I can, because of the federal government, I can subtract $13,000 from what that was. So then I go my 31,879 minus $13,000.
Solar's probably going to cost more than 13, or 13,000, not 1,300.
13,000, yeah. So then that means basically, because the federal government has this rule in place, now means that if that was my only deduction I could put in place, means I only had to pay $18,879 in taxes. Now, here is the curve, and nobody wants to account for this. Okay? There's a standard deduction that usually goes in place. It's a certain amount of money. The standard deduction over many years has increased over and over and over. And what the federal government's basically trying to do is they want to have, say, everyone, you would fall into this. This would be your standard deduction. You could, just because you exist, you're supposed to pay this much. You can your standard deduction is going to be this much, and that's what it's going to go to. If you went above the standard deduction because you had, let's say you bought a whole lot of items and you kept every receipt that you had done. Let's say the standard deduction is $20,000. Okay? So that means that if I had more than $20,000 in taxes that I had paid for mortgages on a house, for interest on car payments, for groceries, for clothing, for haircuts, I mean, whatever might have a tax on it, you can write off. Okay? Now, there's other things you can write off as well. Do most jobs out there require you to be kind of groomed nicely, like have a nice haircut? Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's certainly some jobs where I can shave my head. And the picture my wife sent, she had a guy on the train the other day, shaved head, and he had, you guys know what the Rams football team's helmets look like? It has the ram like goes like this. He had tattooed that on his head. So it's kind of crack up. But most jobs are going to require you to be some sort of grooming. So now, if there's some sort of grooming, you have razor blades that you would probably buy because you're shaving various parts of your body. Okay? You have haircuts that you have had done. You have had certain deodorants, certain shampoos, soaps. These are all things that write off at a different level because, let's face it, your job that you work, I mean, let's face it, if stirrup smelt like a cesspool, like if I was a real smelly person, which some people might, yeah, stirrup stinks, but y'all might say something to your parents might say something to the school, and the school might say, dude, you got to clean up. Okay? I've come across students, so you guys are the age that the tobacco cigarettes is not necessarily something that students are, some are, but not as much. But back when I was in high school, we actually had in the middle of my campus, they called it the smoking pit, and students could go to the smoking pit and smoke. Okay? And it was in the middle of our campus. So, like, think about where the Buddha Bear is. That might have been the smoking pit back in the 80s at Cherry Creek High School. Okay? I don't know what necessarily if that was or wasn't. Someone, I'm sure, would tell us where that might have been. But there was times when I first started teaching, man, you'd have students that walk into class. I was catching cancer because of the amount of cigarette smoke it smelled. Okay, now you guys have other things that are going on, and I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't be doing it, and I'm not saying that it's legal for you to do it, and I don't care. But I'll just tell you, when I first started teaching, students smelt a lot worse than what you guys. You guys smell good compared to the tobacco smoking folks back when I first started teaching. I mean, it was like someone come up and get some help on a test. You're like, oh, dude, stand about 10 more feet away. I'll yell to you the answer. Okay? But, so different types of hygiene would take place. Now, did that come out of your nose? No. So, the weird thing with taxes is there's all kinds of things. Now, I was going to show this. I think I might be able to. Let me bring this back down. I fix stuff. I know things. Okay, I'm not sure why these are on the federal tax brackets things to order, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Now I'm going to go to https://app/gov/understanding taxes/student simulations.jsp. Let's see if this works. Yay, it works. All right. So your parents might fall into Albert Wentworth's thing, simulation claiming tax credit for child and dependent care expenses. So let's see what Alex Wentworth did. Okay, claiming the tax credit for child and dependent care expenses. In this simulation, you will take on the role of Albert Wentworth in order to learn how to claim taxes on the student. So you hit next, and it says this person is married to Susan. Hey, wait a minute. Albert, you're not married to Susan. My wife is Susan. You have two children, Rachel, age 5, Paul, age 2. You live in the United States. You, your wife, your children are all U.S. citizens. Neither of you nor Susan can be claimed as a dependent on any other person's tax return. That seems obvious.
Wait, why can't Paul be claimed? Why can Paul be claimed on another person's tax return?
None of them can be. Neither you nor Susan can be claimed as a dependent. So
Oh, so the children can't, the adults can't.
no, the kids can't either. So you and your children, neither you nor Susan can be claimed as a dependent on anyone else's tax return. Okay, so let's see. You're a financial planner, Susan, a social worker. The children live with you and Susan during the entire year in the family home. No one except for Rachel or Paul depends on you and Susan for income support. No one else claims you or Susan dependents while you and Susan are at work. Rachel, Paul stay at Anytown Daycare Center whose tax identification is given. This is at the end of the year. Rachel and Paul did not have any income for the year. Okay, so your kids didn't make any money. You and Susan provided all the support for Rachel and Paul. You and Susan provided all the costs to maintain family home during the year, and you paid $1,500 each for the care of your children while you and Susan were at work. Neither you nor Susan received dependent care assistance from your employers. Okay, so this is a family of 4. The kids are in daycare. Each kid costs $1,500 a year to be in daycare while you were working. Okay, so you receive your forms, your W-2 from your employers. You earned $48,250 from your job. Susan earned $17,211 from her part-time job. Yeah, these guys are close to poverty. Your employer is required to furnish you your W-2 by January 31st. So we can see your W-2 and your wife's W-2 as you go through it. So if you take a look, this is basically what your W-2 would look something like this. Okay, it has certain things that are on there. So we can keep that. And so who's that? Is that my spouse's? So that's yours and your spouse's W-2. And then, so you can go back and forth with that. Okay, so those are going to mean some things. All right, so then this is like the form I had shown you in you have everything you need for your taxes on this thing. Okay, so dependent taxpayer test. Are you qualifying dependency for tests that meet for Rachel Wentworth? Okay, so dependent taxpayer test, yes. Joint return test, yes. Citizen resident test, yes. Relationship test, yeah, they're your children. Age test, yeah, they fall into the category that they are dependents. Residency, yes, we have a home here. Support test, yes, there is support. Special rules for qualifying for more than one person, no. Okay, you claim Rachel as a dependent, yes. Okay, check my answers, they look good. Oops. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh boy. Can't have nice things anymore. All right, and then next. All right, are you qualifying child dependency for Paul? Yes. Joint return, yes. Resident, yes. Relationship, yes. Age test, yes. Residency test, yes. Support test, yes. Special rules, no. Can you claim Paul as dependent? No. The wife can't, yes, you can claim this child. Go to the next thing. Did you or a person in your organization provide care for your child under the age of 13? Did you pay a person or an organization? Yes, we did. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes, we are. Okay. Did you pay a person or organization to provide health care other than a child who is physically or mentally incapable? This is a no. If a person is over the age of 13, this is a no, because the kids were 5 and 2, weren't they? Okay, did you pay a person or organization provide care for your spouse who's incapable? No. Enter the amount of qualifying expenses paid per year per child. So what did they say? It was $1,300 per year? Oh, actually, you know what? Per child, so 1,300. We're good. Did you maintain a home? Yes. Was the healthcare provider of your child over the age of 19? No. Did you pay for care for a qualifying person? Yes. Enter the name. Who are the kids? Forget. Sam.
It was like Paul and Rachel.
Paul and Rachel. Thank you. Paul Wentworth. And then the tax ID number 110-1036. I'm just making this up. Okay. Did you receive dependent care from an employer? No. Okay, click next. And then enter the salary. So enter the salary. So 17,211 was one person. 17,211 plus, who was the other person? My W-2. And 48,215. Okay, so this family does 65,425 was what they made for the year, 0.00. Using your W-2, enter the federal tax withheld on your 1040 exactly as it appears on your W-2. So use your W-2 to enter the federal tax withheld. Tax withheld So tax withheld was 4,904 plus the wife. $575. We have 3 minutes. Okay. Oh, and then I messed up. So it asked what Susan's salary was, etc. So, friends, this is kind of the ins and outs. If you are an accountant, accountants are really busy this time of year because lots of people are coming to them. How does accountant get the money? Basically, an accountant could charge a flat fee, or they could charge a percent of what your income was to do your taxes. This is basically what they would walk through over and over and over again for all the people that are in their thing. The nice thing is if you have somebody who actually does your taxes for them and you paid them a fee, you get to write that fee off the following year because they had done the fee. So the fee always comes in the next year. But it just goes through going through this whole types of thing. And it's pretty fascinating in my opinion. Some people find it boring. Some people feel that it's just appropriate that, you know, I can just pay someone to do it for me. I don't have time. But that's taxes.